All right, what is going on, all NationalWrestlingShooters viewers? This is Cody here, and well, this is the Raw Rebound. Basically, what this is in the description, you can see what this is, but I'm gonna let you guys know what this is anyway. This is kind of my take on the Raws and Smackdowns and pay-per-views of the WWE and the NXT takeovers and NXT. If I do watch them, this is a bit of an alternative as well. We know we have multiple people on this channel, and Scott is the man that does the reviews. But I kind of also want to give my input on this, and I haven't done so in quite a while. So I figured, you know what, why not? Good place to start off with the Raw after Money in the Bank, which was overall a pretty solid Raw, actually. A pretty solid Raw, and I'm going to be honest with you. First Raw I've watched full on in about a couple of weeks at least. And I can honestly say it was pretty good. So with that being said, let's get out to the opening segment. We had Kurt Angle in the ring with Alexa Bliss with her celebration ceremony and all that. We find out that Nia Jax will go one-on-one with Alexa Bliss at Extreme Rules for the Raw Women's Championship once again. Bliss thanks the fans for the opportunity to rub it in their faces, you know. Basically says that there'll be no more talk about the irresistible force and the baddest woman on the planet. It'll just be about the goddess, Alexa Bliss. Out comes Ronda Rousey, rushes towards Alexa. Kurt Angle restrains her, and Bliss puts her foot in her mouth, so to speak, talks a lot of crap, and basically kind of points out some things that Nia Jax did. Like, what she did was legal. Cashed in her Money in the Bank, and that Alexa's all the highlights that Ronda is not. And Alexa calls Ronda a overhyped rookie. Pretty, I'll get to the point in a minute. I'll get my thoughts on it. This sets Ronda off, flips Alexa down, takes Alexa down, beats her up, flips over Kurt Angle, beats Alexa Bliss with a briefcase, beats Angle with the briefcase, beats the referees up, and then puts Bliss through the table to end that segment. But I'll go ahead and talk about this as well before we go into the next thing. Backstage, Kurt Angle and Ronda argue for a bit. Angle suspends Ronda Rousey. Rousey, when being interviewed by Renee Young, says she'll do her 30-day suspension. And when she's done, she will finish off Alexa, deal with her pink-headed ass, I believe. This was really, really enjoyable. It's not often, well, I don't want to say it's not often that you see this kind of stuff happen, but it's kind of nice in a way to, have someone that's, legit not taking Alexa's shit. And that's good that they just let Ronda go all out, beating up Alexa with a briefcase, beating her down, beating on Angle, beating on Revs, all that. It's as much as we all give crap for Ronda and her being overbooked, you know, maybe to an extent, she is being booked actually really like she's supposed to be. This is the way that Ronda Rousey should be booked, as the badass, and it's working. It's working pretty well right now. Overall, I enjoyed this segment. Very enjoyable opening of Raw, and you know, Roman settle Nia and Alexa again. You know, you know, but it is what it is. I did very much enjoy the segment. Rollins then comes out afterwards. Hold on. Do you like Constable Corbin's gimmick? Starting to grow on me. Also, I like that. I'll talk about Constable Corbin in a little bit. Towards the end of this review. Seth Rollins comes out, says Elias took it to the limits, and he says that, hey, yeah, Raw's been heating up. Let's bring some more fuel to the fire a little bit. Rollins makes the challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre come out, and who is it that accepts but Dolph Ziggler that accepts the challenge? And we get our opening contest for the Intercontinental Championship between Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler. These two men have a great back and forth segment. And lo and behold, I'm not going to talk about all the match details in and of itself. Great back and forth matchup, you know. Nothing too special, but nothing bad. Great opening contest for a Monday Night Raw. Really, it was great. It was good. And then the surprise, Dolph Ziggler pins Seth Rollins and becomes the new Intercontinental Champion. Afterwards, you get the aftermatch assault. Dolph is interviewed afterward that says that Monday Night Rollins is canceled. And Drew says that he told everyone that this is just the start. And Dolph says that they have some, when they say something, they mean it. And that's that. Great matchup and surprise. Surprise, surprise. I remember just kind of looking at this very, very, very surprised. Because Dolph has had this new pair of McIntyre. You know, they've had, you would assume that down the road they would have been the ones to become the new Raw Tag Team Champions. And now they've kind of taken a bit of a curve and given Dolph the IC belt. Interesting. I don't have a problem, per se, with this. But I gotta ask why. Why all of a sudden did you do a complete 180 and get the belt to Ziggler? Now, I know people have been complaining about Dolph's title reigns usually not being the best. You know, I mean, sort of meh. You know. But here's the thing. Do you remember Dolph's last heel Intercontinental Championship run? That was probably his best run. His best title reigns, don't count the World Heavyweight title because that was when he was being face, was when he was a heel. As a face, his IC title reigns have been pretty meh. And I think this, I don't really know where they're going with it. I don't really know why they ended Rollins' Intercontinental title reign so fast. Well, I didn't. I was kind of confused at the time, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Whenever we talk about Rollins and what he did later on in the night, and what was announced as well for Extreme Rules. More on that in a little bit. But congratulations to Dolph Ziggler becoming the new Intercontinental Champion in a shocking matter, really. Pulling the tights, you know, heel. But the fact that Dolph won the belt, won the Intercontinental Championship, and is now a 6-time Intercontinental Champion. Dolph, where have you been? Hopefully, this is the start of something good for Dolph Ziggler. Hopefully. Bobby Roode versus Kurt Hawkins. Glorious DDT. Bobby Roode wins. None really to say there. You know, Hawkins doing the whole losing streak thing, and this is kind of easy now for Bobby Roode, you know, because ribs and midsection hurting. Just easy match for Roode to kind of like, you know, cool down. They really need to, in my view, they got to do something with Roode. Roode is getting stale as a face. It isn't working. It caught me off guard whenever he came to the main roster almost a year ago, and just turned face when like 3 nights ago he was a heel NXT champion being beat by Drew McIntyre. It's just weird. It's just kind of weird. I mean, at least with McIntyre's deal, he kind of has a vendetta because, you know, he went soft and he got hurt because of Andrade Cien Almas. He was soft, and so it fueled him to come back, go to the main roster, and be a heel. That one kind of makes a little bit more sense. The Bobby Roode thing made no sense at all. And it's been pretty dumb. Pretty dumb, yeah. So, Bobby Roode gets the win. You know, nothing really special at all. Just Hawkins loses to continues. One day, Hawkins. One day you'll get that win. Next, we have Mr. Money in the... Mr. Monster in the Bank. Braun Strowman comes down, makes his way to the ring, lists his accomplishments. You know, the 50-man Rumble, winning the Money in the Bank. Says all Brock has to do is show up, and Braun will cash in, which is a good mindset. But you need to remember also as well that you need to beat him down, or he needs to be beaten up. I don't know, man. Seth lost, but I think Seth is going to be okay. I'll explain later on in the video. Kevin Owens comes out like a complete idiot. I've got to talk to you guys about Owens. more so towards the end of this video. But Owens comes out being flat out honest. I will give him that. It's be like, well, we're both good-hearted, and we can both use each other. Flat out use each other, and then we can face each other for the belt. Whenever you cash in Money in the Bank. Like, I'll help you. I help you. You do something for me. You know, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, sort of thing. You know, Owens being perfectly honest, and Braun's kind of like, yeah, I appreciate your honesty, but I don't really need you. Goes for Power Slam, but Owens gets out of the way. I'll go more into Kevin Owens in a bit. It's poor Kevin Owens. Poor Owens and Zayn. Like they I'll go more into it later on. Actually, I'll talk about it. I'll talk about Owens now. Zayn wasn't on the show. I ain't gonna worry about that. That was at Money in the Bank. But Braun Strowman, obviously, being booked like the monster. I still don't think he needed the briefcase per se. I think if anything, Owens needed it the most out of anyone on Raw. Or maybe Finn for the sake of giving me a title reign. I had a shoulder injury. I'm 2 years overdue for my rematch. Just me. But I think Owens really would have benefited the most from the briefcase on the Raw side of spectrum. Him and Balor. Owens more specifically on his booking. But bad for Kevin Owens, he's injured and Braun left Power. Yeah, I know. Like, I just can't help but feel bad for Kevin. Like, the booking of Kevin Owens has not been good. And this guy signed a 5-year deal. And I'm assuming the whole weight thing is true because otherwise I don't think Owens would be booked this bad. I would hope not anyway. I could be wrong. But I don't know, man. It's just sad. This little thing I'll talk about more later on because there's a segment not too long afterwards. Bayley confronts Sasha and checks out Sasha, tells him to stop looking at the ladder match. Bayley wants to start over and move on and beat the Riot Squad, and Sasha accepts. You know, seems like even the commentary is not acting good Owens, but I'll go more into that in a little bit. I'll go more into comments a little bit afterwards, towards the end, whenever I'm talking about things that could happen. But we get Woken, Matt Hardy, and Bray Wyatt versus Heath Slater and Rhino. But wait, first we get the B team dressed like Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, and the irony of Bo dressing up as his brother. That was just so good. It was cringeworthy, but I think they meant for that to be. It can't help but laugh at it, but it was cringe. But if it was meant to be like that, and I'm pretty sure it was, then good job on you. I will say that. And I really think, like, with the whole, like, Bo and Axel being like, I'll just go down afterwards. I'm like, yeah, they're trying to be cringe. Okay, now that I know that, good job on you. We get Slater and Rhino attacking up from behind. Slater and Rhino get a little bit of offense in, but of course, the kiss of deletion and Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy pick up the victory. You know, Bray and Matt are a great tag team. Do not get me wrong. I love them as a tag team. But their reign has just been kind of dull. And it's been partly due to lack of booking. And I really think that they really should have been put on the Money in the Bank card. And as the tag title match against the B team. Instead of waiting. That's just me. I would love to have seen more from this Bray and Matt tag team title run. And maybe down the road, we could get something interesting. maybe an Ultimate Deletion Part 2, maybe? Tag team wise? I mean, the way that GFW, or TNA, I should say, and WWE have been working together on the documentaries recently, I don't really think there's a whole lot of hatred there. I really don't think there is. I think that both sides understand to business. You got to do what you got to do to succeed. And WWE isn't really putting down TNA. And TNA hasn't really been doing the same since they've been getting free publicity on the WWE network every time that their footage has been used. And I think it's beginning of a working relationship that GFW really, or TNA really have needed for so long. Next, we get Baron Corbin confronting Kurt Angle, and Angle says he didn't suspend Ronda for Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie's on the phone with Corbin. Kurt takes the phone, talks to Steph. Happens when we come back. Gives Corbin the phone back. And they have work to do, apparently. So there was a big announcement in just a little bit down the line that we'll talk about later. Next, we get Jinder Mahal, and he's not announced by Sunil Singh, which I found a bit weird. And he talks about he felt the wind of change, and I just think it might have been because he got the wind knocked out of him from the spear by Roman Reigns. That's just my view. But he says Jinder is committed to change, unlike Chad Gable. Forget about the past and his amateurs and focus on the present. But then when the bell rings, Jinder kind of goes back to being angry. And, just kind of goes through Chad. It kind of reminds me of the whole Festus thing. I just get that flashback from that. That was the first thing that went through my mind when looking at this. But if it works for Mahal, then it works for Mahal. Basic Mahal winning, getting momentum back after losing to Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank. Jinder Mahal wins the match. We get the Riot Squad causing destruction backstage, writing an R in the mirror for the tag match. Jinder Mahal has been kind of a bit on a roller coaster since becoming WWE champion. He's booked very protected. He was very protected. I was going to say very well, but it wasn't very well. It was very, very protected when he was WWE champion, and then he lost the belt, and it's kind of not really gotten a whole lot of momentum back since. He lost to Bobby Roode for the United States Championship, and he won the U.S. belt. We lost it 2 weeks later to Jeff Hardy, who, if we're being real, Hardy, with the whole driving DWI deal, I'm surprised he didn't lose the U.S. belt at Backlash to Randy. I like Jeff Hardy, no offense. I'm just saying I'm surprised that they didn't do that, but they covered that a little bit on the Hardys WWE 24 thing. By the way, go look at the WWE 24 series with the Hardys. It's really good. I very much enjoyed it. And it was actually a lot of stuff that I had no clue that the Hardy Boys were going through after they had left WWE. I just remember not seeing, I knew Jeff left because I saw the whole thing that he lost to Punk, and then Matt just kind of disappeared, and I didn't even know what the hell happened. So it was kind of interesting to see the trials and tribulations, and I went through the emotions, honestly, with that. I felt scared at the time because I was like, holy shit, we were going to lose the Hardy Boys. But it was a very emotional one and a very good one, and I recommend 100% you go check it out. It was really good. Considering that they talked about after they left the WWE, their time in TNA as well, and everything else. It was really good. See, when you have all the instruments in place, even the ones outside of WWE can make really good documentaries. Really good. But next, we get Sasha Banks and Bayley versus the Riot Squad. Throughout this whole match, the story is Bayley is trying to put her heart in the right place, but is going a little bit too much with it, and ultimately that costs them because Banks is doing just fine. But Bayley gets a little bit overzealous and costs Sasha Banks to get pinned by Liv Morgan. Afterwards, they have a bit of a war of words for a bit. Bayley tries to help Sasha, but, you know, Sasha's not having it. And then at the end, Sasha shoves her down, and it's just Bayley was just trying too hard, I guess, and Sasha was having enough of it. Bayley tries to help backstage afterwards. Sasha says straight up that she's had enough, that hey, don't tell me what to do again. Bayley's like, I'm not finished with you, Braun. And then Sasha's like, I'm done. I'm just done. Lotto, done. Bayley didn't take too kindly to this and attacks Sasha Banks backstage, and it ends up backfiring on her. From the recap I'm looking at, it says Sasha angrily oh wait, no. Okay, never mind. I looked back. My bad. I'll save the Sasha Bayley talk for after the last little bit, so I can kind of like wrap that all in. Baron and Angle going over what happened. You know, Angle announcement happens. Angle's trying to tell the people who the next challenger for Brock Lesnar will be, and Roman Reigns comes out and says, hey, you know, I'm the Uncrowned Champ. I beat Brock Lesnar at the Greatest Royal Rumble. Kurt says, hey, you know, glad you're out here. I can make the announcement. But then Bobby Lashley comes out here and makes his way to the ring. Says he's watched Roman try to beat Brock. He can't get it done. Says that he's been wanting to get his hands on Brock since Roman Reigns was a bit of a pup. And, you know, and he says, hey, he could beat Brock and he could beat Roman too. So kind of playing into the whole dream match, you know, cut the sister crap. I want Brock. I know I can beat Brock, and I can beat you too. And that's when Angle announces that there's going to be a multi-man match at Extreme Rules to determine who faces Brock next. Bobby and Roman are in that match. Subsequently, due to their victories at Money in the Bank, and plus Roman being screwed at the Greatest Royal Rumble. But then, all of a sudden, the Revival come out. Oh, these guys are a thing. I forgot they existed. The Revival talk about how they're trying to make a name for themselves. They make a challenge for a tag team matchup. And Roman says, I don't mind. And Bobby can learn a thing or two. Angle then hits this match down. And there we go. We have a multi-man match for Extreme Rules to determine the number one contender for the Universal Championship. And people are not too happy about this. I am perfectly fine with this. I think that multi-man matches are fun. And Extreme Rules, the one that they had last year with Joe, Balor, Bray, Roman, and Seth, was really, really fun and enjoyable. And I really do enjoy it. You add the Extreme Rules stipulation to that match, and it will be fun. Bobby and Roman could do good things. And there's also a few names floating around here and there that could be in the match. We'll get to those later. Well, actually, no. More names floating around right now, like Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, maybe even Braun Strowman, just for the hell of it. Maybe. But we get to the tag team matchup. I was looking at something else and I missed this matchup. But it ends. Roman and Bobby get the win. No surprise there. Roman goes for a spear. Bobby tags himself at spears. Wilder. 1, 2, 3. Lashley and Roman win. You know, kind of showing the tension between Roman and Bobby right there. We might get a matchup on Raw between these two. It could be good. It might not be good. Who knows? Hopefully it might be good. Backstage, Corbin and Angle talk. Balor wants in the match. Corbin makes fun of Balor. Says, oh, you only held it for 24 hours because your little shoulder got hurt. Boo, hoo, hoo, hoo. Owens comes in and he's basically winning the match. Balor makes a hilarious line that's like, and you don't know danger when it's standing practically right in front of you. And like, Owens looks behind him. And you know, ever know in video games sometimes where like a danger happens and like the exclamation mark goes right above their head? I've seen the gif of that on Twitter. It's kind of like that. Owens moves away because he's like, no, I don't want any part of Braun. Braun's like, I'm here to help my buddy Finn out, you know. We went to war, but at the end, we're good. We're competitors. I won. You know, whatever. Been to my buddy. All that. Then we get a match between Noah Jose and Mojo Rawley. Don't care. Didn't see this match either. But Mojo Rawley picks up the victory. Renee interviews Mojo, and Mojo says that the WWE is more competitive now than before, and he used to be all about hype, but now he's all about being focused. And seems like Mojo's getting a little bit of a mini push. It seems like they might be beginning to work on Mojo a little bit. And I don't really know if Mojo is necessarily the guy that should be getting pushed, but we'll see. You know, if Mojo is getting better in the ring. And I noticed, like, the, what do I call it, the Fabrizio tape or something? I might have gotten the name completely wrong. On Mojo's leg. So I'm wondering if maybe part of why he wasn't on Raw is because he got a little bit injured and was kind of, like, sitting out for a little bit. Maybe. I don't know. But good to see Mojo back. It has been a little bit. We'll see what Mojo is going to do. But didn't really care for this match, so that's why I did not watch it. Sasha Banks, we're back to the Sasha Banks Bayley thing. Sasha Banks goes to her car. Bayley says she's not done again. And Banks says she's done with Bayley as a friend. Gets in the car. Bayley tries to get Sasha out and throws a cup at the car and drives away. Now, gotten all the Bayley Sasha segments done. They're advancing the storyline. Finally, like, I can appreciate a slow build, but I was kind of waiting for the next step. And this is the next step. I don't know if there was any definite heel turn, but people have kind of compared this to the Shield a little bit. Just a little bit. You know, a while back, before Mania, Banks attacked Bayley, brawled with her. You know, people thought, oh, Banks is heel. Now Banks acted like a face. Now they're seeing this, and people are saying Bayley's being a heel. It's hard to tell. Either one could really turn heel, to be perfectly honest, because a heel turn is coming. And I feel like something is going to maybe happen at Extreme Rules. Maybe. Personally, for me, I would have gone with the Raw Women's Championship idea if Banks would have won the briefcase. You know, act like things are cool. You know, kind of Bayley backstage be like, hey, I'm sorry. I'm trying to help you. Banks like, hey, I get you. I appreciate that. But we're competitors. We're athletes. I don't need no babysitter. Kind of like begin bit of attention there and then have Banks be the one turn heel when people think Bayley was going to turn heel and all that. But that's just me. But you know what? If this turns out to be something good, I'm all for it. Do you guys mind if I show a little bit of bias right here? Because I think I'm going to show a little bit of bias. Bayley's being a bitch. That's just me being a little bit biased. But it seems to me that they're going toward the Bayley heel turn. Now, I'll go a little bit more onto the heel turn, face turn deal. We've got a little bit of Raw left before Raw goes off the air. But we get an Alliance concert, which did not get interrupted. I actually didn't see the Alliance concert either. I caught like a little bit at the end, I think. But basically, Elias is putting his name in the hat. Is like, hey, I'm going to fight Brock. I got nothing to fear. And in Saul's Grand Rapids, there's no one in the world like him. And he's not going to let this setback from Seth Rollins keep him down from a opportunity at the Universal Championship, even though in reality Elias probably would get squashed. Renee interviews Seth Rollins. Seth says he's got no excuses. Says Drew is a problem that he's got 1 week to resolve because he's invoking his rebotch clause next week. Yes, we have Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler next week in our rematch for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, why next week? Because I think Seth is done with the Intercontinental Championship picture, and he's going on to the Universal Championship picture. I think Seth's going to be in the multi-man match, along with Roman Reigns, kind of like last year, and I think Finn will be in it. and a couple others will be in it as well. But then we get on to our main event, which is Finn Balor and Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin and Kevin Owens. You know, most part, Owens is kind of selling the fact that, yeah, he's hurt, needs Corbin to tag in. Corbin wrestling in the suit? Right on. Fuck yeah. Like, keeping the regular suit on, you know, it's like, oh, this is just Finn. But then when Braun gets tagged in, he's like, okay, yeah, no, business. This is business. This is in-ring business. And it ends with Baron Corbin getting a clean win over Finn Balor. And Balor and Owens pick up the victory over Balor and Braun. Or should I say I said Corbin and Owens, right? I hope I did. But Corbin and Owens get the win over Balor and Braun. So some main event, you know, not the best main event, not horrible by any means. You told a good little mini story right there that Owens is injured and Corbin got the win. And it kind of makes me wonder if Baron Corbin might insert himself into the matchup at Extreme Rules to determine the next person to fight Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. Who knows? And that ends Monday Night Raw. Overall, out of 10, I would give it a solid 6 or 7 out of 10. You know, there were a couple, you know, like things that obviously don't care about, like the Bobby Roode Hawkins or the No Way Jose Mojo Rawley thing. And there were some things that, you know, could have been a little bit better. But overall, solid Raw. Solid Raw, and glad I watched. Now, there's a few things I'm going to talk about more in depth on. The story behind Seth Rollins. Going in after he lost the belt, you know, we didn't really know why they did that. It was sort of a question mark over our head. Just like, why did they give it to Dolph? Why did they give it to Dolph and not Drew? You know, Drew would have been better. You know, all this and that, all the talk. Now the picture's been, I think, painted a little bit more clear, or at least a little bit of a hint that Seth is going to be going to the Universal Championship picture at Extreme Rules to possibly become the #1 contender to face Brock at SummerSlam. There were rumors flying around about that. There were rumors about Roman Reigns also being in the match at SummerSlam against Brock Lesnar. And Scott, I will actually be talking about that a little bit after this, because I got to give a bit of an update. I've got to be giving thoughts on the stuff for 2K19 and some updated stuff when it comes to 2K18, the tournament, and other things as well. But that is for another stream. This is Monday Night Raw. Let's talk about Raw. But I think the picture for Seth is painted a little bit more clear. You start to see all these factors that are kind of going in, and people complain like, oh, I have storylines for these characters. But in reality, it's kind of all one big story going into one. And you have factors going in like Seth Rollins go to the Intercontinental Championship and maybe possibly go to the Universal Championship picture. That'll be more so hinted after next week. You have Balor saying, oh, I want in that multi-man match because I want the chance. Constable Corbin just letting his victories kind of speak for themselves, making a legit claim to being a contender for the Universal Championship. You have Roman playing the uncrowned champion deal. You have Bobby Lashley kind of playing the I've wanted to get my hands on Brock Lesnar for so long. You haven't gotten the job done, Roman. Step aside. It's my turn. Playing off that kind of factor, being booked a little bit better on this Raw, and playing into the dream match that people want to see, which is Bobby Lashley Brock Lesnar, which should be, hopefully, pretty damn badass to see if it does happen. You have Elias with the concert being non-interrupted for once, and usually these concerts go interrupted. And the fact that it did it this time and Elias made his intentions very clear, you maybe add him into the mix a little bit. You have Owens kind of playing hurt, but is kind of also made his intentions clear that, hey, I want my shot because I haven't gotten my rematch since I was beaten by an old man. And all these factors are kind of playing into one. It's very interesting to see who will end up in the matchup itself and who will come on top to face Brock Lesnar, presumably at SummerSlam, and hopefully who will beat Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam for the Universal Championship and bring the belt back to Monday Night Raw and, well, win against Brock and they get cashed in on. Spoiler as to what I kind of think will happen. Braun's cashing out at SummerSlam. I'm saying it. I'm saying Braun is cashing out at SummerSlam and Braun will finally be the champion because someone's going to get these hands. What else? Okay, we talked about the rounds a little bit. We talked about where are they going with the Intercontinental Championship picture? You know, that's my biggest question other than the Universal Championship picture, because with that, you can kind of sort of see who will probably be in it and who might be in it. For all we know, Braun might be in it as well, because why not? Why not have Braun in it as well? Because Braun. And if you have competitors like Corbin and Roman in there, someone who's been able to stand toe-to-toe with Braun in the past, Braun won't have to win. And he doesn't have to win since he has the briefcase. And you know more than likely Braun will become the champion because they're not going to have Braun fail to cash in. They're not. And if they do, then at this point, Braun's got the briefcase. He should win the belt. He should win the belt. He should win the belt. He should. It sounded like I said shouldn't. But he should absolutely win the belt. 100%. 100%. Don't think he needed the briefcase, but now he's got it. And he should win the belt. And destroy it. What else? With the Tag Team Championship pictures, you know, nothing really to talk about there. I think that covers it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Raw Rebound. But first off, there was an announced match on Smackdown that it will be Samoa Joe, Daniel Bryan, Rusev, The Miz, and Big E in a gauntlet matchup to determine the #1 contender for the WWE Championship at Extreme Rules. The Nakamura Styles thing is over. Praise Jesus, thank the Lord. And I say that for multiple reasons. One, because I think a lot of people were getting a little bit tired of the feud. And two, they ended on a good note. They ended on a pretty perfect note, honestly. And at the end, everyone got the dream match, I think, WWE style. And I think it was really good. It was a really good match. But we move on to bigger, better things. Who will be the #1 contender for the WWE Championship at Extreme Rules? You have to find out tomorrow on the Smack Talk. We will talk about that tomorrow as well. Also, don't go anywhere, guys, because I got a update and thoughts on WWE 2K19 and the stuff that has been announced today at the press conference. I was going to do live reactions, but didn't wake up early enough, and just only in now to talk about it. And there'll be some interesting updates there as well. So, if you're a fan of WWE 2K games and you're a fan of the live streams here, I suggest you go look at that stream over there, because I bet it's going to pique some interest. It's going to pique some interest in those who enjoy the live streams and what's to come next with 2K18 and 2K19. There, okay, said that. Now for my closing line. But if you enjoyed this discussion and talk, leave your thoughts below. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. What did you think of this Raw? What do you think is going to happen next week on Raw? What do you think is going to be happening at Extreme Rules on the Raw side of things? And was this a good Fallout show? I think this is a good Fallout show for Money in the Bank. I think it's also straight up, hey, time to move on to the next, which is also really good. Thank you guys for watching. Once again, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next one. And just remember, we are the National Wrestling Shooters, and we always shoot for the hip as always. See ya! Bang!